Hello, everyone, and welcome to OM Talks. I am Richard, and I am the Product Engagement Specialist here in the UK. Today, we have some really exciting stuff for you planned. So we have got Kieran Skudder with us, which I'll introduce in a minute, but he's been doing a little bit of F1 and travel for us, and we're going to have a really interesting conversation with him about kind of where he's been and what he's done and just how he used OM to capture some of the stuff he's done. From there, we're going to then do a bit of a product breakdown. We'll go into the TG7 today, which is a camera that everyone should have in their pockets and go everywhere with. We'll kind of show you some images from what the TG7 can do. And we'll kind of break down some of the accessories, because there's a lot of accessories for that as well. From there, we'll also go through the OM Talks challenge as well. Some people have submitted some results from our summer theme. I know Kieran and I have, and Luke have as well. So it'd be great to review some of those, and we'll kind of talk about our next challenge for you guys to get involved in. And where else are we going? Oh, we then have a bit of a debate to play with. So is photography documentative, or is it creative? Is it both? We will discuss that as well as then talking about some of the other promotions and other events we have going on. So let me first bring up the slides and get this started for you. Unfortunately, they're hidden past the camera, so give me a second. There we go. Just to let you know, please put all your questions in. Let us know where you're from. It's really interesting to find out where you guys are from. Last time we had a lot of people from America and New Zealand and stuff. We'd love to find out where you guys are from. And yeah, you got any questions for me or Kieran later on, then that'd be great. Just to let you know, Luke couldn't be with us. I believe he is watching in the comments, but he won't be live today. So if you've got any questions for him, we'll save them for next time. Otherwise, he might be able to get in as well. Perfect. Okay, so let's bring on our guest. So I've known Kieran for many, many years. I helped him come into the industry many, many years ago. He brought his first Canon 6D Mark I from me, it was a very exciting time for him. And he's then gone on to do lots of different things in the world. He's done lots and lots of traveling, and we'll kind of see a lot of that in a minute. But let's bring him on first. Let's do that. Hello, Kieran. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you doing, Rich?
I am good. So how have things been? You're at home now for a little while, aren't you?
Yes, I'm at home, and much like London, apparently, I'm burning. It's really hot. Yes. My travels. My latest one was obviously the one we're going to talk about later on in the stream. Yes, it's nice to be at home for a little bit, because then you get excited about going away again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. If you can hear fans in the background, we apologize, guys. To give you an idea, I think it's about 37 or something where we are. So it's very, very hot. There's no wind, and the rooms are getting hotter by the minute because of the lights. So
yeah, we don't have
apologies if you do. No aircon doesn't exist. So in terms of how did you get started in photography? I've given a bit of a breakdown, but give us a bit more depth, Kieran.
Yeah, so I studied it in high school, secondary school, did it as my sort of A-levels, and I really actually didn't like photography at all. I hated it. There was lots of rules, and my teachers were always saying, you need to do it this way, this way, and this way, and I said, what about this way? And didn't agree with it. So I sort of put it to the side and went to university for sports. Now, as I was there, I'd previously done Camp America, which is being able to go over and work on a summer camp in America. Got to go over to Ohio, and that was really fun. From that, I had to go out again, and I had to have a skill. So I said, I know how to take pictures. And they said, great, we need a photographer. Little did I know I completely forgotten about everything, because I had to quite quickly relearn everything. But the cool thing was I was at a sports university, so every Wednesday there were hundreds of teams playing different games. So I got to get learning everything all over again. went out and did a summer camp in Texas, and so that was hot as well. But I got to really sort of trial by fire of how to get good at doing photography. I was shooting every day there. It's about sort of 3 months that you're out there for, and then some travel afterwards. And I actually previously didn't like travel either, because the first time I did Camp America, I traveled a bit of America. Lots of things went wrong. So I didn't like travel, and I didn't like photography. I came back from this time liking travel, liking photography. So it started to sort of paint the direction I wanted to go into. And that's when I started sort of investing a bit more into camera gear, got the 6D, as you mentioned. In camera shops, I started teaching photography. I started doing lots and lots of portrait photography. I really, really enjoyed that. Shooting with models, shooting weddings and things like that. And that's sort of where I saw myself going for photography. I then moved to Manchester to try and get into the fashion side of things. Very competitive, but unfortunately, that is the same time that COVID hit. So I thought, not to worry, I'll head out to Canada. So went out in Canada and got a job in a photography store and portrait photography sort of combined thing in Lake Louise. And for those of you who haven't gone to Lake Louise, go. It's incredibly beautiful, amazing for photography. It's amazing to be there. And I really started developing more of the landscapey side of things and the nature, which, as you have told me many times, is actually probably what I'm better at doing now than portraits. But I still hold on to the portrait side of things. Since then, I've been traveling pictures lots.
Yes, yeah. So yes, your landscape and your wildlife and your sports stuff, outweighs your portraiture. I will openly admit to you, sir.
No.
However, you are still great at portraiture in comparison to me, so I wouldn't worry about it too much. Let's just say hello to a couple of people, because there's some people from California watching. Hello. And hello as well. So yes, we are very, very busy all over the world, which is good. So let's talk more about kind of the trips you've done recently then. One, obviously we'll talk about kind of later, but actually I should probably make a note first to the viewers. So to give you an idea, Kieran doesn't normally shoot OM. We did a bit of a project with him to kind of give him some OM kit, which we'll kind of talk about in a minute. But essentially, some of the images you're going to see through the travel side of it isn't necessarily OM pictures, but they all have great stories behind them, and we kind of want to share them with you, get you an understanding of where he's coming from, what he's done, and how he's done it all, to then kind of go into when we have given you some OM kit and how that's worked in comparison to your existing kit, I suppose. So let's move on. I just need to bring these slides back on. Oh, I forgot to do this bit. You know what? We'll go back into that. We're going to go straight. We're going to go back into that in a minute. Well, we'll talk about events later. So,
okay.
So, you have been absolutely everywhere, right?
Close to.
So to give everyone an idea, the picture or the map on screen at the moment, every little kind of dot on the map or pin is every single country you have been to, and it's a lot of places, right?
Yes, I've done 59 countries, and a lot of those countries I've done multiple times or been to different parts of the country as well. So, yeah.
Nice. And so can you kind of tell us a little bit about kind of how you've got to kind of go all these places? Obviously, I know some of them you've done on your own free will, ready to go, but tell us a little bit more about how you've got to this.
Yeah, so I'm not a secret millionaire and travel the world on a private jet. I do work. So I've done a few of these, like you said, off of holidays / paying to go out and do some travel. But majority of where I've traveled to has come from working on a cruise ship. So it's a really unique way, quite a unique job, really. I'm in a different country sometimes every day. or a couple of sea days in between, and I'm in a different country. I do that for up to 4 to 6 months at a time, and then I'll come home for a little break, and then I'll go back out again. And that has allowed me to see the world the way I have, and it's been incredible. I've done 59 countries, as I said. I've done 3 world voyages. I've done around South America. I've gone into Alaska, up to Norway. I've been everywhere, and it's been a really amazing opportunity to challenge myself as a photographer, to learn some cool cultures as a person, and see the wider world, really.
Yeah. And how, and kind of what's your role on cruise ships then? How have you been able to kind of travel the world on these cruise ships, but also do the photography element as well?
Yeah, so I actually started as a photographer on board. Now, if you've ever been on a cruise ship, you might have seen the old-fashioned sort of photos. You get them printed out, and you go see them, and you buy them. It was that type of thing, very similar to what they have in theme parks as well. And we would do that with a mix of events and weddings, and it was great. You'd work every day in the evening. You would take portraits of all the formal gala evenings, and people would pay you to come and do a private shoot around the ship, so they get the big funnel behind them and the ocean behind them. It's really lovely. We would do all of that and sell them the pictures afterwards. And that was really great. I would have time in the day to go and explore the country. So I'd take my camera out with my friends who I worked with, and we'd go and shoot, or maybe just go and relax and explore the place. But the best way to see those things was to go on shore excursions. Now, I didn't get much priority in these, being one of the photographers. The people who get the most priority are the people who work in the tour office. So with that in mind, I actually decided to switch and apply to get into the tour office. Got into the tour office, and then I got to get my pick of all the amazing tours that we offer. So I got to go and go in helicopters and go on unique activities that I would probably never be able to do normally. But it's been incredible to be able to get those opportunities, to put me in the right scenarios to get some of these incredible photos that I've done. So it's hard work. You work every day, as I said, 4 months, which is quite a thing to get your head around. And we sort of do 10 to 11 hours a day sometimes. So it does really challenge you, and you sleep where you work, and you work where you eat, and you eat where you sleep. So it all links around. But it is a really great way to see the world, and there's such beauty out there. So it's really awesome to be able to go out and take some great pictures of that.
I guess the great part is that, those excursions are planned, and, you're not the only person that wants to take a picture of that area, right? Or what's happening in that excursion. So having that ability to get out and shoot that in your own way, in your own style, and make all that work is quite exciting way to do it, I suppose.
Yeah, there's quite often me and like one other person at the back of the group trying to wait that extra minute just to get the shot, and then sprint and catch up with the group. So it's normally me and somebody else that's there doing that. So it's really, really, really lovely to do.
Good. So it's a question that everyone will probably ask is, what has been your best experience traveling the world?
Well, I have to put it into, I've got a top 2. So I was trying to think about this, top 2. And it's got to be either New Zealand, and that is purely because of my nerdy side takes over, and I've gone to Hobbiton, and it was the most incredible thing I've done. I went there recently this year. They've added in that you can go into a hobbit hole, so the inner nerd in me was having the best day out, and I got some cool pictures as well. But that was a beautiful thing. I'd say photography wise, it's got to be Alaska. The opportunities to take photos there were endless. I mean, we were cruising around, and you just look out the window, and you'd have 20 opportunities to take amazing wildlife, landscapes, everything you could possibly imagine there. It was just an incredible place.
Nice. Okay, so let's move on to some images, shall we, and just see where we go. So talk to us a little bit about ships then.
Yes.
Oh, you're still there?
Yeah, sorry, yes. So this one was actually my first cruise ship I ever went on. I'd actually never cruised before I worked on cruises, which a lot of people thought was very risky. Didn't know if I was seasick. But we went to Norway as one of my first sort of cruises. And Norway is incredibly beautiful. Lots of fjords, and we're a big ship going through the fjords and things like that. I just thought it was incredible how this humongous ship that can hold 3,000 guests and almost 2,000 crew can go through what essentially looks what I would probably look at a lake. You sort of places, and this is in Olden in Norway, and you dock right up against dock in, and then I thought I could see rocks down there, and I thought, I can see rocks down there. I thought, how can we be docked and I can walk down and be this close to the ship and see like the pebbles coming in up the bank of water. And I just thought it was a really mind-bending shot with a really clear reflection. I thought, how has that got there? And that was got the thought behind the photo, and I just thought it was impressive.
Yeah, to get that reflection so kind of crystal. Obviously, you can see a little rippling in the water, but yeah, it's not an easy thing to do. I wouldn't have thought in that sort of scenario.
A bit of patience with it, but the good thing is when you're in Norway, it's very quiet, so you feel patient already.
Yeah, nice. Let's go to America then. So, and you've literally traveled from like one side to the other, right? You've seen, I would have thought, some of the biggest cities in the world, like New York, San Francisco. I'm gonna put you straight on the spot then and ask you, are you an East Side guy or a West Side guy?
I'd probably say West Side. Yeah, probably say West Side.
Take in mind, there's loads of people from California on, by the way. Just saying. So, lots of people from California on. So, carry on. Anyway, carry on.
No, I find it hard. I mean, it's probably easy to say my favorite place in America is San Francisco. Just the opportunities there to take pictures, but it's hard because obviously New York's very iconic for us from the other side of the pond.
Yes.
But yeah, no, I'd say being San Francisco was my favorite place of all time. Yeah, I had opportunities to take some cool historical and famous landmarks, but also got to go into the Muir Woods and take some cool pictures, and had a really cool mix. I really enjoyed it. But I love America. It's probably the place that I've done the most travel within, and got around. And that's one of the things I love about America. There's so much you can go do, and you could probably spend a lifetime doing all the states and seeing some incredible landscapes. So that is one thing that I want to start ticking off my list, is more places.
Nice. And to prove that East Coast is better, it just says it all.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about these images then. Like, we see a lot of kind of San Francisco images. We see the bridge all the time, but I don't normally see this shot. Is this kind of a classic shot, or is it a bit of a unique one in terms of perspective?
It's unique in some ways. It goes down to research. So I try to research quite a lot when I do I'm about to go to a place to take pictures. I'll scour Instagram. I'm not sort of going into Google too much, but mostly sort of Instagram and Pinterest and things like that, and looking for unique places and advice that other photographers give out, because I find it so useful. I never like keeping all the secrets. I never see the point in that. I want to share stuff, so I like other photographers that do that. And I also am a big movie guy, so I often immediately start Googling where was this filmed and where is that famous scene. So that's where a lot of the influence, some of this stuff comes from. But for San Francisco, there's actually the classic, obviously what you see is normally from like an observatory. They have like a cafe there, but you can actually walk down to the beach. There's a beach right at the bottom of it, and a few films have been done there and stuff like that, but not everyone makes that walk down. It's really easy, coastal path almost. But you go down, you could go down to the beach. On the way down there, I saw this shot, and the sun was setting, and I wanted to get down to the beach for the sunset, get some movement from the water, have the big bridge. But then I saw this, and I thought, oh, it looks like a postcard, and it really did. So I snapped the shot, and I really loved it, and I thought it looked that postcardy, but a unique view. It wasn't a bridge shot that I'd seen or hadn't regularly seen when I was there. And that was kind of similar for New York. There's a big debate, I guess. People in the comments can, pick their favorite view into New York, but some people say Empire State is best, and then some people say Rockefeller is the best view because you have the Empire State in it. So I went to try and prove that. So I went to both places in the same day, took some pictures, and that's when I got this other shot to try and see what the best view was.
Nice. Okay. Let's move on to a different part of the country then. So where are we looking here?
Well, on the foresty picture, that's actually Muir Woods. So that's San Francisco. And that's one of the reasons I love it, is because you go across the bridge and you can get to this incredible, 800-year-old trees that just tower above you. And that's why it's actually a self-portrait, that one. So got the tripod out, set it on a timer, sprinted round, got there. It's sad, but I'm happy to admit it, I bought the coat knowing I wanted to do a shot like this. So I was taking pictures in other places and thought, why do I look so lost? And then at the time, it was quite a big trend for a very bright coat to be in a shot. So I thought, I'll buy that coat. So I bought the coat and did it for the shot. But it wasn't specific for this shot. I had it with me anyway. But I just knew that something like that would be quite a big contrast. It gives you scale because they're not just trees. That they are 800-year-old, redwood trees that have been there for longer than you and me and many other things in this world and well. So I thought it was a really cool place that I wanted to try and really describe. It was very hard. It was on an ultra wide angle, so that's still shot at 17 mil, and I still can't get the top of the trees in. So that is how tall they are. And then on the flip side of it, the next shot is in Canada. So just down the road from where I lived, if Lake Louise wasn't beautiful enough as it was, you've then got Moraine Lake. And this is my favorite lake, favorite place. There's really cool hikes you can go behind, and you get all the yellowing as autumn comes in and leaves and stuff. But this one is really unique because this is at the start of the season. So where you are there, the seasons are quite strange. You get a very, very, very long winter, and then all the other seasons are squished into a small gap. With that, though, it's quite cool because it's warm enough to be out and going out and wear a jacket and just, not all the winter gear, and the lake's starting to melt. So I really wanted to get a really cool shot of Moraine Lake just as it opened up for the season, and the ice was still there, but you've got some of the ice melting away. So it was just to sort of illustrate that it's not just a frozen wasteland. It's a really beautiful lake, because a lot of the shots I'd seen were just the lake in summer, just in winter. So I wanted to get this sort of in-between stage, which is quite unique for the area. Yeah.
So obviously with travel, and as we've just seen, you're in some of the most populated cities in the world, but then suddenly you're in, some of the most desolate places in the world. How does that change your perspective in terms of on a photography sense?
I think the biggest way is time. Obviously, when you're in New York City, you've got that urge to keep going and to keep taking pictures and to keep getting around to all the sites. And it's got multiple things to do. So a lot of the time and you're also not alone, a lot of the time when I go to some of these cities, I'm with somebody. So it's taking the shot and then moving on to where they want to go or where else I want to go. And when I get to a place like Moraine Lake, and like in Norway, you immediately feel a lot more calm and a lot slower. So you can experiment a bit more. You give yourself a bit more time. You're always sort of fighting the light and that sort of time scale. But time is the biggest one. I often, when I'm doing landscapes, slow down, which is why I really enjoy it. Whereas when I'm in the city and I'm doing some of the other stuff, I'm taking it a lot quicker. Now, sometimes that's to my advantage, but it can also be to my detriment that I've missed the shot and not realized. And I'll get back, put it on the computer, as many of us have, and go, I was focused on the bird on the ground, not the big building behind it, or, little things like that. So that's where the biggest thing that affects me is time.
Makes sense. And I think we're going to go slightly somewhere different. We're just going to speed up these images slightly for you.
Yes, so you've actually got Canada again there. So this is at Lake Louise, but a storm was rolling in. So again, time was not on my side. And I just saw a shot, put my tripod straight in the water. I got into the water. It was freezing. But I've got this really cool shot of the storm starting to come over the clouds. I put it on a long exposure, got that really glossy effect on the water, and I really loved how moody it was with a little bit of bright colours from the canoes. But on the other side is actually in Jordan. So this is a very, very, very photographed place. So it was also the thing I run into when traveling to these tourist destinations is you've got the tourist pictures. You want to take something a bit more unique, something that not everyone gets. And this is the treasury. So it's the most famous part of it. It's in Indiana Jones. Again, a movie reference for you. But, it's a really beautiful, beautiful thing. But as I said, everyone's taking pictures of it. It's all over Instagram. It's, everyone's got the same thing. So I wanted to have something a bit more unique. And I thought it was really interesting that when you walk up to it, it's not in this massive open area. It's very cramped. You have to walk through like this narrow sort of great rock formations to get into a bit of an opening and then carry on to the next part. So there's lots to it that it wasn't what I imagined it to be. So that's why I did this sort of shot.
Nice. And also it makes things a little bit more abstract, right? It gives you a very different perspective.
Yeah, you've got the natural rock versus the carved rock.
Yeah, exactly. So in terms of planning for the photography and in terms of the excursions, what are you thinking? Obviously, you're told that you're going on an excursion, right? And you know what you're doing and how you're doing it. But what's your plan for the photography side of it? What are you thinking?
Well, obviously, it's a bit of research of the area, see what types of things are there. And then I try to base what lenses I want to bring with me, because with my current kit, it's full frame, which is great, but it means it's a little bit bigger. A lot of my kit's a lot bigger, so I can't bring all of it all the time. So it's picking what I want and then committing to it and going, could I get the shot with this? Or if I couldn't get the shot, what shots could I prepare for? And that's sort of the main part that I'm thinking about when it comes to the excursions. Am I going to be able to take this shot? If I'm in the back seat or the front seat, or, because being the worker, I can't always get the best spot. So I have to sort of take that consideration a little bit. But yeah, it's definitely lens choices. And that's always the hardest decision I always have, is trying to work out what to bring and what not to bring. I normally shoot, I probably say a lot of my stuff on a 50mm, because it's my go-to from portrait stuff. It's my go-to for some of the landscape. The San Francisco bridge one was actually shot on a 50mm. So I use it a lot. But I have an 85mm, I have a 35, I've got 17 to 20. I've got lots of different lenses, but trying to narrow it down is so hard. And that's why I try to do a bit of research to work out what type of shots I want to get, and that kind of narrows it down. But again, I always have to leave a fair few lenses at home, which is always hard, because it just breaks your back. Otherwise, you can't carry it around. You can't be running around major cities with thousands and thousands of pounds and a massive rucksack and wanting to put it down all the time. So yeah, you have to sort of find that balance.
Yeah, it sounds like you almost need some OM kit where you can carry, lots of different kit around with you and lots of different reasons, and
it took you 29 minutes to get to that pitch. So thank you.
Yep, that's all right. And then we're going to go into wildlife, right, which is our domain. And but you've seen some of the world's greatest photography in terms of animals right now, right? So tell us a little bit about these guys.
So these two shots are the two reasons that Alaska is my favorite place. So I got to go on these excursions. From one of them was from the World's Deadliest Catch, that TV show. They've retrofitted one of their boats to be, they go out and they show you about all the animals and how they fish and stuff like that. And they actually go to a part where in Alaska, natives still own the water. It's the only place in the world they can own American waters. And they gave permission for fish to be thrown in for eagles. So it's the only place you can do it. You're not allowed to feed a bald eagle anywhere else. But it's a unique opportunity to get these. One of my favorite birds, period, is the bald eagle. And I get to get some cool shots. And they would swoop straight down. So you have to be quite fast on it with taking the photos. But yeah, it was a really awesome opportunity to get one of my favorite birds, not just perched. I went to a sanctuary and that was great. I got some shots, but this is them in the wild. It was just incredible. And then that brings me on to the whales. Now, I love humpback whales. you learn about a lot of the animals on the tours. So you really start to, have a favorite animal. And this is right up there. My dream was always to get a humpback breaching or a whale breaching. I'd always wanted that shot. I think most photographers want that shot. And I was so lucky. We went out on this excursion, and this is in Icy Strait Point. And we went out, and even the captain couldn't believe what he was seeing. We had a pod of about 6 males who were feeding, and they just went berserk. They just started breaching all the time. We had 20 breaches, separate occurrences of it happening. All the captains were on the radio going, I've never seen this before. And the guy was, I've been doing this 20 years, haven't seen this type of action. You normally get one, and it happens once or twice. These kept doing it and gave us an incredible show. So I've got a great video of them breaching one at a time, all 6 of them, and one after another. But I was taking some of the best shots I've ever taken in my life of wildlife. And I just loved it. They look like they're in sync, but they're slightly not. So people know I haven't AI'd it and photoshopped it. But I just couldn't believe what I was getting. And it was just a memory that'll last with me forever. And I did, in some points, put the camera down because, like your favorite Walter Mitty movie, you got to look away and look at the moment for a little bit. So I did that. The cool thing was they would give me a show. Once I knew I had a couple of shots, I put it down for a bit. But then temptation got back to me, and I went back to it. But I was just hands down my favorite images I've probably ever taken.
Yeah. Did you wish that you could have got closer with them, or you're happy?
Yes.
In this particular shot, obviously, I imagine you're happy with the synchronization, but.
Yeah, I wish I could. I mean, it's hard because you've got to react really quickly. I mean, your focusing has to be on point, shutter speeds, but also frame rates as well is really, really important. But I have a 70 to 200 mil for my current gear, and I often hit the feature on my camera which allows me to put into sort of a crop sensor mode, which gives me a little bit more reach. But that was the biggest thing I was realizing, was that I didn't have enough reach. I've now since upgraded to get a 50 to 400, but I didn't have it for this scenario, and that's when I wanted it. So, these pictures is what made me get a bigger zoom. But again, bigger zoom, more kit, bigger lenses, and you've got to leave more at home. So that's the bit I'm always wrestling with.
Yeah, that makes sense. Funny enough, if you had like an OM 150-400 or even a 100-400, you might have just got a little bit closer in versatility.
Yeah, maybe.
And then I know kind of Sydney, Australia was a bucket list for you, right? That was kind of an ultimate place for you to go to. And this is also another view of the Sydney Opera House I don't rarely see. So is it for you, was it a kind of conscious to try and find a shot that was out of the unusual, or what was your thoughts?
Well, I actually have to thank my partner for this one. She has a favorite spot. She's been to Sydney, Australia a lot of times and was showing me around just all of her favorite parts. And she has a favorite spot a bit further down. And she was taking me towards that. And that's when I saw this shot, because, I mean, the Sydney Opera House is probably the most iconic building in the world, or one of. But with that, it's really well photographed. But the Sydney Harbour Bridge is also an incredible structure, having both of them so close to each other. And they really are. When you cruise in, we actually dock the other side of the Opera House in between. So you've got the bridge, the ship, the Opera House. So it's really cool, but you don't realise how close they are. I always thought they were much further away, and I don't know what I thought, but I just didn't expect it. So it was one of the things that first came to me when I first got there. So I wanted to try and capture that. And as I go around to this spot, I saw sort of like a natural frame, as it were. So sort of the greenery, and the rest of it is very white and blue. So that's kind of how I did that shot, and I saw it and just, saw a natural frame, and I thought, let's get that shot, and it gives you an idea of how close those two landmarks are as well.
Nice. And you've also climbed the bridge as well, didn't you, during that visit?
I did indeed climb the bridge, yeah, that was really cool. It was also a hot day like this, so I mean, every day is hot in Australia. They deal with it a lot better than we do. But yes, it was really cool.
Nice. Okay. And And then we're going to kind of go almost polar opposite again and go all the way back over here. So yeah, so you get to see some amazing natural wonders, right? I wondered how, in terms of the Northern Lights, how you were kind of capturing that and what was the plan behind that shot?
So this was actually on a shore excursion on the ship. So we go into Norway. This is in Narvik, actually. So we actually cross the borders as well into Sweden and stuff like that and come back down. It's a really cool trip. But as you well know, Northern Lights are never a guarantee. Weather has to be pretty perfect. And we had one really good viewing before that. And then we had this as we're coming down to the ship. But it's really hard because the Northern Lights aren't always bright for very long. We had a talker on the ship, and basically you have to sort of think of it as like a bucket. The bucket fills with all the particles, it dumps out, gives you the show, it turns back up and starts to fill up again. And that's kind of the timings that you get. So having that information, I knew that the windows were that if it was bright for one bit, we had to wait a bit longer for the next side of things. But yeah, taking shots like this, also you're on a time frame. We had to get back to the ship. The ship had to leave at like midnight, and it had to leave. So this is coming back at, this is probably 11:45. So we were cutting it tight for Paul wasn't getting in trouble. We were getting in trouble. I was a worker. So obviously they're going to blame, the ship's not going to blame the guests, they're going to blame me. So I had to rush, and I was the last on the bus. Felt a bit bad for it, but I got a really cool shot. And yeah, I'm very lucky to get put in some of these scenarios where I get the opportunity to take these pictures. That's another lake in Canada at sunset, and no one was there. No one went down there. So it's knowing that not many people go there as well for that. And then the Northern Lights one, it was knowing that how the Northern Lights worked, and then have the opportunity to be in a place where they get great weather for it. So yeah, I really enjoy doing that type of photography. It's really gratifying when you get a shot like that, and it panned out well.
Good. I love that someone found my pun a second ago. I'll take that as a win.
I missed that one, so well done.
Yeah. So okay, let's talk about Formula One then. Did you want to tell the story? I feel like you've probably got a better angle on it than I have, even though we were both involved.
Yeah, so my current kit broke on the last tour I did on the ship, knowing that I planned and paid for this trip it's my 30th birthday, so I am headed out to go to Toronto to go see Niagara Falls, spend some time in Toronto, and then go to Montreal for the Formula One. That was it's been my goal to see Formula One live. I've never seen it before. It was on my bucket list of things I wanted to do. As you can see, I tick off a lot of things of my bucket list, so this was the next one to do, as was Niagara Falls. But yes, my camera broke. I only recently bought that new zoom as well, so I thought, I'll be perfect for the Formula One, and had all my kit ready. But yes, it failed. So I had to make a call, try and get it fixed. I got home on the 1st of May, went on holiday on that 1st of May, came back on the 4th of May, and then went away again on the 12th. So I had about a week to get a camera fixed. Having worked in the industry, I know it doesn't work like that. So I was weighing up renting gear and things like that. And then you came to mind. So I gave you a call. You said, that's great. We would love to get some sport and action stuff done, as well as some travel. And I was very lucky to get sent some great kit from Olympus, and got to take that away and really experiment, challenge myself a bit, do some different photography, challenge myself on a new system, because that's always a new challenge with not very much to learn it. But yeah, it was a great opportunity to get something new.
And just to clarify, obviously, you've used lots of different cameras over the past, right? So you've used a Sony, Canon, Nikon, I think you used at a time as well. So
there's I haven't used. Yeah.
So this is kind of just this is the next one in line, right? So and
yeah,
we were just very fortunate to obviously know each other, so we can obviously get you some kit. So what we sent to you was an OM1 Mark II body with the battery grip, the 825 f4 for your wide angle stuff, your 1240 f2.8 for your kind of everyday stuff. We also sent you a 25mm 1.2, just because we know you love a bit of portraiture, you love a 50mm.
Yeah.
And then for the sports side of things, we sent you the 5200 f2.8 and the 2x teleconverter.
Correct.
So quite a cool, exciting kit. It will allow you to do a bit of everything, right? So what was your initial thoughts kind of when you first got hold of it? You got it, all the kit home, ready to play with. What was your initial thoughts?
Well, the biggest one was actually I picked it up from you and took it back home. And I have a backpack that I put everything in. It's the same backpack I use all the time for my travels because I know it gets on a plane. I know that I can bring it on as carry-on and I can fit a good amount of gear in it. But what surprised me the first thing was that I fitted every item you just listed in this backpack with space to carry other stuff, which I've never had before. That was the biggest amazement. Also, my back wasn't hurting. So that was another another bonus. I've been carrying it around all day and yeah, it hadn't my back wasn't hurting. So that's one of the biggest things I had. Just to give you a bit of reference, like this is the bag that I bring everywhere with me, and it has like a little pod in the back. So I had to fit everything in this little pod. And to give you some reference, this is my current 70-200 in that. So it's not very big. So to fit in a zoom, a wide, a sort of everyday, a portrait, a camera and its grip and a teleconverter, that to me was just astounding. So it opened up a lot more opportunity to not have to make those decisions before you shoot what lenses you bring out. So that was the biggest thing I took from it. Yeah, that was sort of the main first impressions.
Yeah. Okay, so let's look at some of the images then. So talk us through where you went and we're skipping too far forward. There we go. So talk us through
Toronto
these.
was the first stop. So I flew into Toronto. Great weather. It's a really, it's a built-up city, but the buildings were so tall. It's kind of that imagination you get from New York as well. Like when you think of New York, they have very tall buildings, which it has. Toronto has that as well. And some really iconic buildings like the CN Tower with the stadium just below it for the Blue Jays. Went to catch a game. Unfortunately, cameras aren't allowed in there, so I couldn't bring it there, or professional cameras. So, but it was a really cool place, very big metropolitan place with lots of glass that I started to notice were giving some great reflections. Sort of two of the shots that you see there are done on that wide angle, and that is to get. I really like the idea of it almost looking like the building wasn't there, so. I guess being a bit more creative with it. You know, the clouds are coming through, but you can see it reflected, so it kind of looks as if the building wasn't really in the shot. But then I went over to Toronto Island, which is just a small little island across the bay, and I got this really cool shot of the CN Tower and the stadium and the skyline. It's got a really, really impressive, beautiful skyline. So it was really cool to get that, and that was shot, just from there, just off the ferry, really. So that was really, really cool.
And how were you finding the 824? If you, for you may not know, but the 825 even f4 is a very well used lens out of the OM community for the width. How did you find that in comparison to kind of like your normal kit's wide angle?
Yeah, I mean it's not far off. So on a full frame, I use a 17-28. So. Okay. Not too dissimilar in terms of the view I got, but I will tell you this was the lens that stayed on my camera the most for the entirety of my trip. I thought it was going to be the 25mm. I only got that out a little bit, surprising myself. And then obviously the 12-40 I probably used the least, thinking I'd use that the most as being a more easy lens to put in the backpack and take it around with me everywhere. No, I put the wide angle on, which surprised me a little bit as well. I shoot wide angle for landscape, but I don't often always have it on my camera like I did for this one.
Yeah, so I guess it's surprising because it's obviously a 1650 on a full frame format, and what that actually offers you is a lot of versatility. So in terms of the OM, we look at it obviously as a really good wide angle, but there's so much more to that lens. You can literally, for street walks like this, you could literally keep it on, right, and just walk around and shoot pretty much most things with it.
And actually, what was really, really nice, I have like a little stash bag that I carry as well, Pete Design one, and it doesn't fit a lot in it either. But I knew that I didn't need, after walking around on day one, I know I didn't need to bring out all the kit with me. So I just put that in and carried it around. And it felt as if I was not carrying anything with me all day, but I had the opportunity just to whip it out and get some shots. So it was really, super versatile. Probably my favorite lens that I shot with.
Nice. And then quite a different type of architecture. So how did the lenses perform in terms of you having to build layers? So like on the image on the right hand side with the kind of the older mansion, obviously there's quite a lot of nice layers and a lot of nice color. How was building that all in camera for you?
It was. Sometimes I sort of see a shot in my head, and having a camera that is able to deliver that, that's what I found when I put the lens up and got that. This is actually shot on the 25 mil, so I wanted that separation, that depth. So I shot it at 1.2, which I know is not everyone's cup of tea, but I shot it wide open and just to get that sort of feel for it, and that's what helped me build that layer from the older building. But also a bit of a contrast of the old with sort of a softer nature and things like that. So that's kind of how I built it in my head for the shot. But I did experiment a little bit with a couple of different lenses, but this is what, as soon as I put the lens on, I saw the shot that I imagined in my head, which was what really gave it to me. But then the one on the sort of opposite side of that, on the left, something that happens all the time with travel, every place I go has construction. I don't know why, but every time I go there, there's a crane there, there's something there every single time. So with that, I had to go around the side of the building, which gave me this unique shot, which has sort of a really nice pop of color, and it's a really unique architectural building that's there, and it has these really cool angles, and it's sort of, I always imagined it as like splitting the picture in half almost. So it was really unique that I could actually go around and do it, but there's really hardly any room between me and the building. It was quite tight, so again, that's where that wide angle really came in.
Nice. And then we had a quick preview of a second ago, but you then managed to get this, which I think is a stunning image in terms of the concept behind it. Tell us more how you got this.
So I originally planned out, and this is where planning can be very well and good, but you can't plan everything. I planned to go up to a viewpoint in Montreal to see the sunset, and I did that. The shots were okay, but I didn't see much difference in just a general snapshot. So I put the camera away, enjoyed the sunset, and came back down with my partner. As we came down, the sun was setting, and it was beautiful, and everything started to, the colors started to change. And I saw this cool sort of statue, and then I noticed that the moon was out. And then I thought, oh, wait a minute, that is the moon, for those of you who couldn't tell. And this statue has its hand out like this. And as I started coming around, I started thinking, oh, I wonder if I could get the statue to hold the moon. So I started playing around and trying different angles and, different lenses. And then I managed to get the shot lined up where it looks like she's sort of holding the moon in her hand.
It's a pretty creative shot, I've got to say.
Yeah, I was even impressed with myself for how creative I'm not normally that creative.
So knowing you don't normally have the patience to create that on the go. So I know that's taking some time and some thought for you to kind of create that.
That's the one thing I noticed with the amount of travel. I'm always going to the next spot. So I'm always like rushing a little bit, I guess. So again, this was a bit nice about this trip because I gave myself a bit longer in each place, because on the ship you get 1 day. So I had a week in each spot. So it allowed me to experiment with the kit, but also it allowed me to start slowing down, realizing I don't have to go anywhere. I can stay here and wait for the shot or wait to play around with it. So yeah, it was nice.
Nice. And we're just going to move on. We're going to talk about those shots in a minute, but I just want to talk a little bit about the portraiture side of things. So for you, how did the camera work portrait-wise? Did it work?
Yeah, it was really great. It obviously has some incredible tracking built into the camera, which works really well. We're both wearing sunglasses because although it was a rainy day, it was really bright. But obviously having the confidence of that camera gear as well. Behind, if you don't know, that is Niagara Falls. So everything was wet anyway, and it was raining, and it was fun to play around with the camera, knowing that it was weather sealed, which was nice. But for a portrait lens, yeah, I really loved it. This is obviously on the 25, shot wide open. It was just experimenting with it, having a bit of fun with it. My partner on the right there, took some nice pictures of her. She actually liked the pictures, which for boyfriends out there, you understand that's a very big compliment to say that your girlfriend likes the picture. But so much so, she's normally quite worried to pick up the camera. She doesn't take any pictures normally. But she took the picture of me. She felt confident enough because it was quite a light camera. I didn't tell her that it's, the highest in the range and things like that. But for her, it was quite intuitive for her to pick up, look at the screen. She saw the box on my face. She knew that it was on my face. She could see it clearly. And she took some cool pictures, and then she was directing me to do this and do that, and really got into it. For someone who doesn't shoot, she's picked up a camera a couple of times. It was really fun to see her pick it up and enjoy it, but not feel worried about the kit because she could hold it, and she wasn't worried about dropping it.
Yeah, and in terms of, did she understand the durability of the camera, or was she kind of oblivious to that?
I mean, she asked a few questions like, oh, is it okay that it's getting wet and things like that? And I said, yeah, it's fine. Because she knows that on my other system, it's not. It's got a little bit of sealing on it, but it's not as sealed as obviously the Olympus is. So she knows that I normally like to put it when it starts to rain, I put my kit away. Or I only have it out for a little bit and then put it away. So it was no, it's fine. Carry on shooting. It doesn't matter that it's raining. So, she was aware of it. Maybe not to the extent of what it was, but yeah.
Nice. And I guess the big question is, obviously you went on a boat, didn't you, for this trip, and went to literally under the Niagara Falls. Was the kit on you at the time?
It was in the bag, but the bag got drenched. The kit was fine. I didn't take it out just because as you got closer, I started to notice there was so much spray. You can kind of see it in the background of these shots. The spray goes up so high that it gives you like a wall of just white. So I guess if you look at a white screen and zoom in, you could claim that's me in the Niagara Falls because that is basically all I saw. It was awesome. There was so much power coming at you. But yeah, I had my phone out for a little bit, but even that went away just because I couldn't see anything. It was just spray.
Yeah. So the realization is that you could literally shoot our kit in the Niagara Falls, but you wouldn't get much out of it because of the amount of spray. I'll take that as a win.
Yeah, I mean, you're more welcome to go back and test it for me if you like, but take it from me. Yeah, that's what I would say.
If that's an offer, I am there. You know that. So let's go into the F1 then stuff. So talk to us a little bit kind of about the challenge. So before we kind of show the images, everything throws us a challenge at some point in time. And this was one that either myself or you did not expect, right? So,
yes, so yeah.
Give us a little bit of information on this.
So people who have done the F1 or don't know about the F1, you book your ticket and you can book to be stood up or you can book to be sat down. So I booked to be sat down because it's a long weekend. It's 3 days and it's 2 hours of racing. So it's a long time. But I wanted to make sure I got a good spot. So I put myself on one of the corners. I'm in the family stand, which means normally a bit more flexibility of people standing up and down. So I thought, I can move around a bit with the shots. But the problem is, one of the first problems was they're very, very strict on sort of moving up and down and blocking exits and things like that. So I couldn't sort of go downstairs and take shots. So, and you are, conscious that other people have paid to be there. So you don't want to be stood up the whole time blocking their view. But all the research I had done had shown that where I was going to sit in the stand would be just above the safety fence. There's a massive safety fence that if there's a crash, debris doesn't then come and hit everybody. Obviously needed. I appreciate that. What I didn't realize was how tall this fence was, because then when I went to sit in my seat, the fence is there. And I went and checked. I went to stand up at the back of the stand, and whether it was just this stand, I don't know. But I looked at all the stands and I looked at the whole thing, went to stand at the back, and I still wouldn't have got over the fence. I would have maybe got a part of it, but I was then limiting all my shots to basically one shot. So it's not really what I wanted. So I had to sort of make an adjustment. I'd obviously made you and Olympus a bit of a promise that I was going to take pictures. I couldn't just say, oh, well. But I wanted them for myself. Like, it's a unique opportunity. I'm not the sort of person that can go to the Formula One every weekend. So I wasn't going to be there again, or not for a while. So I really had to start thinking, what do I need to do to try and make this fence either disappear or use the fence to my advantage? And then, we're about to have a look about how that went.
So let's have a look at the first 3 images you submitted to us. There we go. So yes, this fence is like proper in the way. There's no way of getting around it. It's like you are going to have to try and shoot through that fence. But as you've just said, you can't get closer, right? You can't get further away. So you're going to have to maximize what you can out of it. But in terms of a technical point, the camera still held its focus even through the fence. And if I'm not mistaken, this was the 50-200 with the 2x teleconverter, right?
So this is without the converter. So I will say that the focusing was flawlessly without the converter. And it, I said it picked up the fence now and then. As you can see in this middle part, there's 2 quite thick bars. It would sometimes go on that, but generally speaking, I was able to pick it up. The thing is, they're slowing down on that corner, so I do have a little bit of time, but they're coming out of nowhere. So you can hear them coming, but you sort of have to get in, and they sort of come into the shot and they're back out the shot again. Formula One cars are extremely fast, even on corners. But this is where I tried to think, right, how can I use this fence? So as you can tell, you can still see the cross hatch. I was hoping that shooting it wide open would eliminate that as much as possible. It did. Obviously, it's there, but it's not overly distracting. And I was trying to use like the bars to maybe frame the shot. So I was lucky that where I sat, I had that corner right in the shot there. So I got these cars coming around, but it did mean I had to sort of time it right. Otherwise, I start cutting off pieces of the car. It was tough. I mean, I think they came out all right. Hopefully, people in the comments agree. But it was a real big challenge.
That's a proper challenge, isn't it? And in terms of, were you using anything like pro capture or the subject detection? What were you using camera to ensure you're focusing on those cars?
Yeah, so I had the I think someone's actually just commented the same question. Pro capture was really, really useful for it. It was something to get used to because it's completely silent and you think, oh, okay, it's videoing, and then you don't realize how much it's using up of your, of your memory. Because I as I started to buffer, I then realized, my God, it took a lot of pictures. But that was really, really good. With it, obviously, Olympus actually has a sports car focusing as well. So it was obviously actively looking for a vehicle coming around. So that really helped. The pro catcher, I sort of drifted in and out of it, not to just fill up a memory card in 10 seconds. I was thinking of when I could use that pro capture, but coming around, like the comment said, coming around the corner blindly, it really, really helped to just almost guarantee the shot, because I had all the composition there. That's all me, and obviously the settings is me and making sure it's there. The pro capture just gave me that little helping hand to guarantee me the shot, I guess is the way to put it.
Yeah. So to go up against the challenge, I think the next 2 shots were the best scenario you could possibly have got out of this. And I think anyone else in this challenge would also be kind of grateful for the creativeness of these ideas. So let's go to the first one. So panning was key, was it not?
And I'm not afraid to say panning is not something that I've had a lot of experience with, because again, not many races. There's only so much panning you can do with a car going 30 miles an hour in your high street. So this was really, really hard. I had the fence in there as well. So not only did I have to pan, but I had to make sure that I was grabbing the shot in between each of these bars. So as I started playing around with settings a little bit more, I ended up being really, really cool because the fence decided to start being almost like a leading line with it. So it actually helped the image a bit more as well. So I sort of added it into the image. You get a bit more motion in the image, because one of the key things for, motorsports is, in comparison to the images before, they're sort of frozen. They were shot at, the max shutter speeds to really freeze the action. But in theory, you could park the cars there. I've always heard this argument that you could park the cars there and no one would get an idea of the race and no one would get an idea of the scenario. So panning really aids that. It's fun. It's something that I was experimenting with. I actually used Pro Capture for this one as well.
Okay.
Yeah, it was fun to get. It gave me a little bit of a safety net in. I turned it on and off to see what the differences were, and I was maybe getting a couple more keepers in the Pro Capture side of things. But yeah, it was really, really fun to obviously shoot this and get a shot. This is kind of the shot I went in wanting. I wanted something like this. You get the wheels moving, you get a bit of motion behind it, you get the idea it's a fast car, and but the car's sharp. So yeah.
So, and I think the nice thing is that, yes, obviously you had all those bars in the way, right? So yes, you had like 2 vertical bars. You had to plan this shot, and so in reality, what you think of as you'd have normally a long pan to do a long stretch. You literally had in what your eyesight would have been like a few meters to take the shot, and for the speed they're going, it's impressive to kind of get those 2 vertical bars almost out of shot. It's quite a challenge, I thought.
It was, and then obviously having learnt a bit more of the Pro Capture side, because I've never worked with a system that had Pro Capture before. So in answer to, I think, one of the comments that's there, I did eventually adjust it to allow the buffer not to be so bad and not so distracting. So yeah, great tip. It was something that you can do, and it is something you can adjust to not be saving that many pictures in. So that then gave me the confidence to play around with it a bit more again, because obviously when you first use it and you've gained that much in, it was a bit daunting having never used it before. But yeah, it was a timing, dialing in the equipment in, and trusting the focusing on this one, because I played around with leaving it in sort of a manual focus and then just doing the panning versus the tracking and the panning, and this is actually with the tracking on as well. So it really kept up from the corner. I followed it around the corner and came round and knew where my shot was in that sort of window, and that's when I initiated the Pro Capture in the shot.
Spot on. And we've got one more shot from this as well, if it wants to work today.
So Mercedes is my team, but Lewis Hamilton is one of my favorite drivers, so I ended up getting quite a lot of shots. Now the cool thing about this, his car is so bright in that red that it worked out really nicely for a lot of the shots. But similar sort of principle, it was shot the same way as the other shot, but trying to get as much motion in it as possible. And because this is a brighter car, I felt you kind of look past the fence again a lot more. I noticed that a lot when I was shooting some of the darker cars like the Mercedes or Cadillac. Because it's grey on black on grey and stuff like that, you sort of look at the whole picture, whereas this is very bright. You sort of just look straight in at the yellow helmet and the red car.
Yeah. And then just 2 very last images from that whole entire trip for you. And I know the one on the right is a big thing for you, right? Yeah.
So this was Lewis getting on the podium, which was great to see. But actually, really, really funny story. Where I was, the finish line is here. The track goes around like this and all the way around and loops back around. I was on this side, so I was on corners 6 and 7. So I had to get back round to the main straight. So you can cut a lot of the course out. And in Montreal, they let you onto the track to get there for this event. So I thought, oh my God, that's going to be brilliant. See the champagne spray. it was a really cool opportunity. And then I thought, oh, let's start going. And although I went to a sport university, I have not run for a very long time. They started playing the national anthem, and we are still locked behind a gate. Now everyone starts booing, and because we know that we have to run to get to this. Because as soon as they start playing the national anthem, as soon as that stops, they do the champagne spray, and then they go. So obviously something had been delayed. So they let the gates open. I sprinted round, and I thought, oh, I don't know if I'm going to make it, because they'd actually blocked off right in front of the podium. So I thought, oh my god, I really wanted to see it. I could just about see it. Then I thought, wait a minute, I've got a 2x converter, and I've got the 50 to 200. So I stuck that on, and yeah, that's when I got this type of shot. So I was able to be really, really far away, and I literally just held the camera above my head, put that screen, tilted that, and then was able to shoot away and get this really cool moment when they put it on their shoulder. And it was a really split second. It wasn't long. It was up, gave a wave, and then came back down again. So yeah, that's when having that type of kit really played to his advantage.
Yeah, could you imagine of carrying your normal kit and having to run that distance and kind of forcing it to get to that point, and then obviously the versatility of the lens, right? Trying to get 400 mil in small, lightweight was probably a challenge. So it's well done.
And it's something like, it's not a type of shot you normally use that lens for, but it sort of just proves that you can get. I mean, I guess it's more of a snapshot than a technical photo, but it was a moment that I wanted to keep personally from my time at the F1, and it's something I wanted to experience. And now I've got a little memory of that because I was able to get that with the kit. So it's not all about getting pictures for your wall. Sometimes it's nice to have the picture to tell the story.
That's it. In which obviously works perfectly well to when we talk about debates in the debate topic in a minute. So I just want to bring up this comment because
thank you very much.
I think for the challenges you had for the mission we sent you on, I think you did incredibly well. I think there's a lot of people that would have struggled with that, with those challenges. So you did incredibly well. And obviously, thank you. I'm sure I can find you one. But big thank you to obviously kind of spending some time with us, showing us kind of some of the images around the world. For some of the people that arrived late, you can go back to the beginning of this and see some amazing images from around the world and just where Kieran's been. And at the age of 30, you've definitely been and done a lot. So I feel like that should be celebrated.
Thank you.
But you're going to stick with me for a little bit and talk about some other bits, right? So now, I know you don't have much experience about this camera, but I know we have got a few stories together about this particular camera that we're going to talk about, or the previous model at least. So we're going to talk about TG7 today. And I'm going to go straight in and say, if you haven't got a TG7, you should have a TG7. It's everyone thinks it's just this tough camera that can go underwater and that sort of thing, but it is so much more than that. It's very versatile in terms of what it does. And the accessories that you can purchase for it do amazingly well to capture all sorts of things. In terms of experience then, Kieran, I know we've both in the past used a TG5. And we both used it in a unique way. I thought you'd be more interested in telling that story though.
Yeah, so it's I think a way, I don't know many people that would know to do it like this, or if they have, well done. But obviously, as well as being a tough camera, it's got an incredible macro on it. And for the range that you're in, if you're looking to buy a macro lens, get 2 of these cameras instead. It's just it's crazy. So what we when I used to work in the camera store, we'd use it to take pictures of people's film. So they would come in and they'd want to digitize some of their old negatives or new negatives. So we developed the film, and then we had a film scanner, but it was okay. It was doing well, but it broke or something happened. I can't remember what the full scenario was, but we started using the backlight to light the film, and then realize, well, the program still works and pictures are great. It's, I think at the time an 8-megapixel camera for the macro mode of it, or something similar. And yeah, we were getting great shots that we could play around with, and yeah, we were digitizing people's film with it, and they were coming out with really lovely shots that we knew had the quality to go and print onwards. So it was a unique way that actually you could have a camera, go out and play with it, but then if you go find some film in your loft that you want to digitize, which I know a lot of people are still doing, be it new slides or old slides, you can really get some great stuff with it. That's sort of the unique way that I've been using this camera in the past for the older models.
Yeah, and to kind of talk about that little bit of macro mode, we'll kind of talk about that in the next few slides. We'll kind of go deep into that. But yeah, this thing is really formidable. And if you start looking at the specs, most people will be concerned that it's got 12 megapixels. I don't think you need to be truly concerned with that, because we're running a super CCD sensor, right? It's a tiny sensor. So having that lower megapixels and that f2 lens there just allows you to capture so much more light. And yeah, you've then got so much more. If you're already an OM user, you've got quite a lot of features in the camera. It feels very like an OM camera in terms of the menus and how you'd work it. But you got things like Pro Capture in there. So as we were talking earlier about kind of shooting sports on it, you could shoot sports on it essentially, or if you want to use it underwater and then you got a fish that's moving around really fast, you can use the Pro Capture to do that, and that's all in the camera ready to go. You've even got macro stacking in there. Focus stacking in there as well. So it will take up to, I think it's 6 or 8 shots. I can never remember on this one. And it will stick them all together, all in camera, ready to go. So not alone can you kind of super macro almost to like your fingerprint, or as someone did to me the other day, take a picture of my eye with this camera. You can actually then focus stack that. And I managed to get some examples, which I'll show you in a second. Let's just go quickly into the accessories. I'm very lucky to have a lot of these accessories. One of them I think is the coolest thing in the world, is the underwater housing. If you ever find like the compact camera, the CG7, too small, put it in one of these things. It feels amazing. But what this will allow you to do is go down to 60 meters underwater. It's a hell of a beast of a thing. It's all mechanical inside. There's no electronics or anything, and you get the little kind of floaty grip to go with it if you want to. And in comparison, actually, let's do the comparison in size to camera, just so you got an idea. So this is the camera. It's a formidable beast of a thing. And then you've got kind of light adapters. So it uses the flash and the strobe that's in camera, so you can use then LEDs, or you can diffuse with a flash. You can then even do wide angle adapter, or even a teleconverter as well, so you get up to kind of almost a 200mm if you wanted to with it as well. So there's a lot of different accessories out there, and it just allows you to kind of expand that camera so much more. It's definitely worth looking into. In the UK, a lot of retailers don't actually have the accessories in store, but you can get them with ourselves. I'm not sure about anywhere else in the world, but it's worth having a look and a play with. Let's talk about the macro features. Just want a couple of bit more times. So these are images sent in from Luke yesterday. So it was so hot that this creature decided to come into his house whilst he was working. Great images, by the way, Luke, if you are watching. To give you an idea, that obviously the left-hand side is the size of the creature in real life, but then the macro mode, how he managed to get that creature to stay so still for that period of time, quite a formidable thing to do. So it kind of gives you an idea just how close you can go. And this is an image I dug up from the photography show from Birmingham this year. So someone was actually taking a picture of a banknote on a table, and to give you an idea, that is not even a centimeter big in terms of in terms of actual size. So you are going to the finite detail, so you can actually see the grain of the paper that it was printed on. And one last thing for macro on this camera, just to give you an idea, this is what I shot actually this morning in one of my macro boxes. So we have this nice leaf about to open up, and the right hand side image is the focus stacking in camera. I didn't have time to edit this, by the way, so this is literally straight out of camera. You get what you see with it, so quite formidable in terms of what it can do. So imagine what you could do now with all those film shots if you're using this to scan now.
Yeah, I know, right?
So I then get my son to use this camera, and I think he does some incredible work with it whilst I'm playing with my own one in the back garden, laying down and trying to take pictures of ants and stuff. He gets to do stuff like this. And I think this is a really fun collection of images when I was going through them earlier today. So if no one knows, my son's really into planes, but I like the fact that he's got a shadow of a plane in the garden. And then, he's taken copy his dad into and try and take some macro shots as well. And even the colors straight out of camera, I think is really, really nice. And how he managed to do a selfie of his face or his mouth without even being able to see the screen, I thought was quite fun as well. So what I'm trying to say here is that the camera, it just isn't to be tough. You can, it has that ability to do it. So you can throw it to your children and they can use it and abuse it, take it in the water, use it in the sand and the beach over the summer, whatever you want to do. It is a really quick, versatile camera to be using for all the family. And it doesn't really hurt the bank too much either, which is important. So if you do want to get hands-on with these cameras, most of your retail stores will have the camera in stock and ready to play with demos in the UK at least. Get playing with it as much as you can. So let's talk OM Talks Challenge. So the challenge we set you guys last month, for people that were watching from last time, we wanted to see some pictures of summer. And that could essentially mean just what summer looks like to you. We want to see that nice iconic image of what your summer is. And we're going to go straight into what Luke submitted for us. Obviously, again, he can't be here. But I think that is a really classic image. Kieran, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think most people think about walking along the beach, don't they? I know I do when I think of summer. So, I don't know exactly where he is, but to me, this feels more like a classic British beach, walk along some of the coastal ways and stuff like that. So, yeah, definitely what I think of. It's a cool shot. It looks like it's got some movement in it as well from where the waves come back in. But yeah, no, I like it. Definitely what I think of as a summer and when I want to go out shooting and stuff like that. Beach is a really cool place, and it's hard sometimes because you'll see it's crowded. From experience, especially from traveling, you get some really crowded beaches, so it's hard to take pictures. So when you get the opportunity, it's definitely cool to do it.
That's it. I also like the kind of, I think it's footprints in the foreground there. It just kind of builds the layers of the image. It actually works really well. Sure. If those were missing, I think it would be almost missing something in the shot. It'll almost be too plain in the foreground. So
yeah, for sure.
So let's go to one of my pictures. So when I think of summer, I don't necessarily think too much about going to the sea, but I know a lot of people do. Obviously, we're a bit of an island here, so as soon as it gets hot like it is today, everyone scatters to the beaches and the coves. And but for me, I think of that classic British weather, which we're not having right now, but we have those classic overcast days where the clouds are quite kind of still grey looking and quite deep, full of rain, ready to go. And you then get those really bright blues breaking through, and suddenly all the greens look kind of flourishing. And that's what I want to kind of express in this image. And I think of summer, it's a classic blues, there's classic greens, that brightness. But that got me then thinking, and I had to submit a second image to that, which then I start thinking about kind of flowers, and in particular dahlias, and how they just explode with color and vibrancy. And dahlias in Britain mostly come out kind of more towards the bigger ones like this come out at the end of the summer almost. You get the kind of almost 5 weeks of them, and that's about it. But yeah, it's I just love how cameras can capture this vibrancy and this accuracy, and just make those colors explode. And that for me is summer. It gives you that level of excitement. But Kieran also submitted an image, so let's move to that. There we go.
So obviously
talk to us a little bit
on
about
the same wavelength in terms of heading to the beach. But yeah, no, I was sort of thinking about it, and I know that you obviously are going to go down more the British summer, which is normally typical. But this is actually in Aruba, a place known for beaches and known for being summer all the time. You know, it's incredible weather there. But it was funny because obviously you get all the British tourists going to some of these places, and I'm on a ship with lots of British people. So it just felt like a very classic. For me, I think of summer, I think of summer holidays, and I think of holidays. And be it travel, be it holidays, whatever you want to call it, I think most people end up going and sitting in the sun. And yeah, just I like the idea of this couple just sort of lounging around, having a nice day, and just looking out at the ocean. And yeah, that's kind of what I think of it as. Summer days are always feeling longer because they're really long. You know, more sunlight and stuff like that. So I always feel like days feel longer on the beach. So yeah, that's kind of where I was going with it. But yeah,
nice. So let's see a few images of what other people have submitted to us. So we're lucky enough that Craig, our colleague in OM in the UK, submitted a couple of images for us. I think the one on the right says classic kind of British summer. You know, these things are normally popped up in the Victorian days.
Honestly, if he has some fish and chips on the bench, that's summer. So I mean, yeah, that would be. It's literally what I think of when I see that.
And I know the one on the left is literally where he is at the moment. He's on holiday down, I believe, Cornwall way. So that was literally, I think,
close to my
2
heart.
days. Yeah, exactly. I thought it would be. Yeah, it's literally 2 days ago. So yeah, what a great sunset. You must be having some great sunset shots from down there. Yeah. So let's see. So Wandering with Camera, if you're on, thank you for submitting the image. I love the vibrancy in this image, and I also love the reflections of that blue just in the water as well, in the foreground. I couldn't tell you what creature that is in terms of bird, but yeah, it's a beautiful, vibrant image. So I really like that one. Thank you for submitting that.
Very brave to get that close to a baby. I mean, sometimes their mums are walking around, so that's a great shot.
Yeah, exactly. And then Petra, what a great image. I think you kind of outshine all of us, I think, with this image. So this really reminds me of kind of late August, even maybe kind of mid-September sunsets. You know, yeah. I love this image. It's great.
Yeah, to me it reminds me of, you know, when you walk through some of like the wheat fields and stuff like that in the grass, late evening, sunsets going, I've got to go back to the car now. That's exactly what embodies this image for me. Being out late and it's 9 o'clock at night, but still this light. That's what I think of.
That's it. That is exactly it. Yeah. So thank you for submitting your image. We will try and get some bits out to you when we can. So I will get Luke when he is back around to make sure he gets in touch when possible. So we just had a question of how do you take part in these challenges? Well, that is really, really simple. And we're about to kind of announce the new one for this month. The next theme is summer activity. So we've just done what kind of the summer of what we think summer looks like. Now we want to see you guys doing summer activities. So is that things like, I'm automatically thinking like there's a lot of reenactments around my area, so I'm like, oh, that would be really, really cool to get some shots of medieval reenactments and stuff like that. Summer activities for you, Kieran. What's your thoughts?
For me, I always think of it of like water activities, like going out kayaking. I live near a canal, so it's all the canal boats coming back and forth, but I guess another activity popular for us Brits is going to a nice beer garden next to the water.
So nice creative shots of a beer garden. That's what we want to see. Yeah.
Hey, that's a new challenge. But no, yeah, going out on the water is definitely my what I think of as summer activities.
Nice. I like that. So I'm hoping to see a submitted image for next month then for that. If you guys want to take part in this, it'd be great to have you guys more on board. All you've got to do is post an image on Instagram, #OMTalks. Me and Luke then look at these before the next show, bring on our favorites, as we just did. There's some nice little kind of free bits to win if you get kind of shown on the thing on the stream here. Get involved. So summer activities, there's a wide range of things you could be doing. So I want to see lots and lots of images on the next one. So let's go into debate then. Now, normally, obviously, we'd have Luke on this, and I normally get Luke to kind of pitch in first in terms of what his ideas are about kind of in terms of the debate, whether it's documentative or creative. What is photography? I'm just going to quickly show Luke's images of what he provided. And I'm guessing this is when he went on holiday, and I imagine he is very much kind of showing the process at hand, which is the documentative side of things, and then that nice kind of bokeh creative look to really tell the story of what they're working with and that detail, I suppose. I'm sure he will tell us next time. In terms of yourself then, Kieran, we passed these images earlier. Tell us a little bit about these images to begin with, and why you moved from like the left-hand one in terms of documentative style and did something a bit more creative.
Yeah, so I mean, I wanted to go to St. Lawrence Market. It's a really popular and famous food market in Toronto. So I guess on the side of documenting it, I wanted to document where I was, and I guess I sprinkled in a bit of creativity. So I guess you can lean to where I'm going with my answer for this debate. But, you know, I made sure I've got the CN Tower, which I guess is the more iconic. Okay, he's in Toronto because I can see that building. He's at this market. Yeah. Whereas the side of it, I just thought I'd be a bit more creative with it and get a bit of motion. So you're sort of drawn into where the building is because the cars are moving, but the people are still. And you know, this was my first sort of play around with the camera, especially on the first day. And I was sort of exploring and doing a bit of touristy stuff. But yeah, I just wanted to get a bit of movement into it. So this was all handheld. So I was trying to test how well the handheld capabilities are of the camera. Very good, by the way. But yeah, there's a sort of two sort of polar different ways of looking at the image. I think I tend to sort of sway on documenting it, but having that sort of creativity in it to be unique. But I think someone's pretty good with the little comment they've got on there saying that it's the closest thing to a time machine we have. I agree with that completely. It's something that you look back a bit like, you know, it's really fun to look back on pictures and remember the moment. So I think a big part of it is documenting it, but I think where you become a photographer is maybe sprinkling in that creativity into documenting it, because that sort of changed it from being a snapshot of a holiday to being a photo you took on holiday, if you know what I mean. And that's kind of where I think it sort of lies in.
Yeah, nice. And I think that makes sense. For me, when I look at these two images, like if you were going to put one in like a magazine, for example, or like a newspaper, like the left one would be the more appropriate one, is documenting the story as such. Whereas I guess the creative one, it is still telling a story. It's just allowing you to have that kind of that creative movement in terms of drawing your eye now towards the building. So normally if you'd froze that shot, right, those two lorries would have been static, and it would have been quite a busy image, right? But what you've allowed to
the image without any cars there. So, you had these guys in bright jackets. You had, a lot of distracting elements in there. So you can be creative and use those to your advantage. That's where the creativity really, takes a hold. And, it's an art form, and some people are really good at it. Some people are learning it still. So,
Yeah, exactly. And then I went down a different route. The right image, to give you an idea initially, is a bubble full of smoke from Smoke Ninja. It's literally sitting on the lightest leaves that you could ever imagine of a little small tree. And it's just sitting there, and I thought it looks like the moon, so I exposed it quite heavily into the whites to give it that moon and glowy aspect. And it's not normally a shot you'd go out and get, but as a creative shot, it's the most creative I would possibly be, and I had to wait almost 30 seconds for that shot. So that's me. On the left-hand side is quite a different image. And the reason I bring this image out of the archives of many years is that I only recently just found it. And this is actually during kind of lockdown period of COVID in the UK. And this is a store that me and you both worked at, that is now closed. And though this image was just a playful image where we were quiet that day and we were playing with the cameras and, just testing the cameras out, getting a better understanding with them, what actually happened is this shot has now been archived for eternity. I've now picked it up 15 years later, or actually it's probably 6 years later now, something like that. And the amount of details it has, that in terms of what the story it's telling. So on the black table on the left hand side is the hand sanitizer. You can see the yellow and black stripes on the floor for all the 2 meter distancing and that sort of thing. And then our old colleague James pulling the pose, and just finishes the image for me in terms of what happy times were. And even though that COVID was happening, we still found a way to break through. And that to me is documentary, is telling that story and making it last forever. And I think that's, I think in terms of the actual whole debate, I think there's a very clear defined difference between the two. And I think we need both in our lives. What would you say, Kieran? Would you say documentative is the way forward, or creative?
I don't know if they're that different, to be honest. I think you can have, I guess, if you look at it from one end, a newspaper would look at the pure documentative image. This is what happened.
Yeah.
And like in your photo, that's a completely creative image. Making it look like the moon. It's smoke. It's But I think for me, how I think about all my stuff and how I take photos is that there's a line in between that takes a bit from both. You look at, I don't know, magazines of fashion photography. They are, I guess, documenting stuff. They're documenting what the item looks like and how you can wear it, but they're doing it creatively, and that's what draws you in, and that's what makes you buy the product. So I think for me, from that sort of background now into what I do, and with my travels and stuff, and because so many people take the same images, I want to document me being there, but I got to do it in a creative way so that I have a unique image. So for me, I really do walk, I guess it's the easy answer, but I do walk down the middle, and I think that they're actually not too dissimilar. I think that you can't have one without the other, because on the technicality, you're documenting it, but I think where a photographer shows what type of photographer they are, they do that in how they are creative.
Yeah, that's a really, really good answer. And I also think, lastly, that photography can be funny. And I took this image probably about 11 years ago now. And this is actually on a EM1 Mark II. And the focus on that camera was great as it was, but I didn't know it was that great that you could have literally a crashing bird. It was falling for that one particular seed. And I wasn't even using pro capture or anything like that. I was just shooting generally. And the focus point just grabbed it at the right time. And yeah, sometimes birds can just be so desperate. All they want is that seed and they don't mind crashing into trees to do it. And I thought that was quite funny. So there we go. There we go. So let's talk events very quickly then. If you don't know already, in the UK, we do a lot of events. I do a lot of events. To give you an idea, literally tomorrow I am in Southampton doing a macro day. I'm then the day after on the Saturday doing LC Gloucester photo walk. We've then got lots of WEX kind of open WEX Roadshow days. We've got things like the Moth workshop there as well. And we've got 3 lives ready to go for later on in the next few months as well. So we've got Espin talking about British wildlife photography. We've got our OM Talks, the special review about skateboarding photography, about the workshop we did there. And then we've got a real special one about slime molds. Now, if you've never even thought about kind of taking pictures of slime molds, or you're not even sure what they are, to give you an idea, these things can be like a 0.5 millimeter high on the edge of a leaf. They are really, really, really difficult to capture. And I was lucky enough to meet a guy called Glenn who does it amazingly well. He's not on social media anywhere. He's not kind of adverse to kind of being out there in the world, but he's agreed to do a talk and a workshop with me about just how he captures these things. So make sure you get involved on that one on the 18th of August, because that is should be a really, really incredible show as well. Just quickly going into cashbacks in the UK, at least we have a lot of stuff going on. So we've got save up to 50% on some gear on our website. That's definitely worth looking at. I think I saw the 75mm 1.8 for less than £500. That is an absolute bargain. You then got kind of the OM1 Mark II up to £500 cashback, lenses up to £600 cashback. I think that's the 150-600. And then the big whites, which you can obviously see behind me, so the small white and the big white, they are coming with free teleconverters at the moment, and that's a incredible deal to be making the most of. So yeah, make sure you get involved in all that. I'm also loving this comment. Thank you, Marcus. Photography can be funny. I totally agree. And I feel like we should show more funny images on here. Maybe one day. And I just want to go back to the hashtag for summer activities. So make sure you get involved. Post your image on Instagram, hashtag OMTalks. We will find it. If we love it enough, we'll get it on the next show, and we will have some real fun looking at them. And that is great. If you have got any questions, that'd be great if you want to put them in now. I think we've answered most of them anyway. Kieran, last words from you, sir.
I mean, go out and travel see some countries, and get some really cool opportunities to do some cool photography. So if you want to try something new, there's no better excuse than paying to go on a trip to really push you to go and give you that time to go and do it. Because it's very easy to say, oh, I'm going to start doing that. I remember many talks with you going, oh, I should probably get better at landscapes, or I should probably go do this. And I know you've been in the same boat going, I need to really focus on this type of photography. Well, just go do it. And I think travel is some of the best ways to go and do that. So go out, see some cool things, take some pictures, and then show us what you got. That's
it. Last comment from Marcus here. come and see me. I'm there all day. You'll find it on our events page to register. You can still register for it. I believe there's still spaces, so just get involved. And yeah, you'll see me there, and I'll show you just what you can do with the 90mm. So brilliant. Well, big thank you to you, Kieran. Thank you for joining us. Thank you again for showing us all the images. I guess, are you going to carry on traveling now, or are you going to stay in the UK for a little bit longer? What's the plan?
Honestly, not sure yet. We're going to, with the travel industry in the world, you're very flexible. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see what pops up opportunity wise for me. But I've got some stuff still on the bucket list. So I do not think that I will be stopping traveling just yet. And maybe it'll be to try out a new system. We'll see.
I believe we probably will get some more kit out to you, and we'll get you shooting some more OM. I'm sure we will. So all good. So lastly, thank you for everyone joining us today. Thank you for kind of all the comments. Really good to see some people from all over the world getting involved. And yeah, we will see you on the next one, and goodbye. Thank you very much.